Good afternoon. Welcome to City News 24/7. I'm Faiza Amin. Could we be headed for an early federal election? That question top of mind for many after NDP leader Jagmeet Singh ended his party's deal to support the Liberals. Glenn McGregor has been watching this all unfold from Parliament Hill today. Glenn, we've been seeing responses coming one after the other here, including from the Prime Minister on this decision. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative Party leader, the latest out of the gate with a response to this on Twitter, saying it's time for what he calls a axe the tax election to end the carbon tax. We don't know necessarily if he's going to get his wish. This decision by Jagmeet Singh to end the confidence and supply agreement that the NDP has been essentially propping up the Liberal government and was intending to do so until next spring. Now that they pulled the plug on that, we could theoretically have an election at any time. In fact, Mr. Poilievre has the ability to do it by bringing a confidence motion in the House of Commons. And if the Liberals can't get the support of either the Bloc Québécois or at least from the NDP outside of this agreement, then yes, we would be into an election sooner rather than later. And of course, Justin Trudeau was asked about this when he was speaking today in Atlantic, Canada, to promote a school lunch program. He only learned about this about an hour before he was scheduled to speak in Newfoundland because the NDP hadn't really given any heads up. They hadn't told his office. In fact, I had sources in the Prime Minister's office who said, we haven't heard this about 15 minutes before the video came out. So Justin Trudeau looked a little bit kind of shell-shocked, a little bit rattled. Here's what he had to say when he was asked about this by reporters today in Newfoundland.
I am not focused on politics. I'll let other parties focus on politics. I'm focused on actually delivering the things that Canadians told me this summer they need. I had thousands of conversations with people across the country. Very few of them wanted to talk politics. They wanted to talk how are they going to make sure that they can afford their rent as they get back to school in the fall. How they're going to be able to hope to one day be able to own a home. That's why we're investing in the most ambitious home building program the country has ever seen. They want to know how we're going to help with the price of groceries. Well, rolling out these school food programs right across the country as more provinces come on board is going to make a real difference in families' bottom lines. I'm focused on Canadians. I'll let the other parties focus on politics.
Now, that is a very optimistic take on this, and it may well all be true. But a lot of those things that he is talking about that his government has done over the last 2 years have been done in concert with the NDP. Remember, dental care was a big part of the NDP's demands in order to support the Liberals in Parliament. Also, pharmacare, and the government has sort of taken the baby steps to launching a national pharmacare program, as well as anti-scab legislation to prevent the use of replacement workers. But of course, the NDP could at any time pull the plug on that, and they did that exactly today. And they did it with really kind of, as I mentioned, no warning to the Prime Minister's office, not much warning to journalists either. We only heard about this morning, that something big was coming. And then, of course, Jagmeet Singh releases this video. Here is what he explained, his reasons for pulling the plug on this deal in this video that was released today on social media.
Today, I notified the Prime Minister that I've ripped up the supply and confidence agreement. Canadians are fighting a battle for the future of the middle class. Justin Trudeau has proven again and again he will always cave to corporate greed. The Liberals have let people down. They don't deserve another chance.
Now that the NDP has pulled its automatic support for the Liberals on confidence motions, the government is going to have to really navigate things very carefully over the next few weeks, and starting when the House of Commons comes back in mid-September. Anytime there is a confidence motion or a supply matter, that usually means a vote on money, things like federal budgets, on tax changes. Those are automatically confidence votes, and if the government doesn't get support from one other party in the House of Commons, it would fall, it would lose the confidence vote, and the Prime Minister would be obliged to go to the Governor General and ask her to dissolve Parliament and call another federal election. Now, the timing of this is interesting, though, of course, because Pierre Poilievre, he's doing very well in the polls, about 20 points ahead of the governing Liberals, well ahead of the NDP as well. He wants to go to the polls as soon as possible, but there's going to be some collision with other provincial election campaigns. British Columbia, of course, is an election campaign, one coming up in Saskatchewan, and there are also by-elections coming up in the next couple of weeks, a really important contest between the NDP candidate and the Conservative in a riding called Elmwood Collingwood-Transcona in the Winnipeg riding. The NDP is trying to hold on to that. Conservatives are very optimistic about their chances there. This may be part of the reason why Jagmeet Singh decided today to rip up this deal, because he was sensitive to a lot of the criticism that he was getting from NDP supporters and even people in his own caucus of MPs who are unhappy about the NDP essentially propping up a prime minister and a government that are both very unpopular. Also in Ontario, we know that Doug Ford has just said in the last little while he doesn't want to have an election campaign anytime in 2024. He's in a majority government. He's no chance of his government falling without his approval, or if it's not his decision. So does this complicate this picture in Ontario in the next year? Because if we are likely headed to an election by the spring at the federal level, and one of the things that could trigger that is the federal budget that always comes out in March or April. The government lost a vote on that. The government would fall, we'd be doing an election campaign. But the thinking is the Ford progressive conservatives in Ontario want to go to the election, into election campaign before the federal vote, because they're worried that if Poilievre were to win at the federal level, that could take away support for the provincial progressive conservatives. So a lot of balls in the air here. Short answer here, Faiza, is we don't know for sure when we're going to be in an election campaign, but it's starting to look a lot more likely today.
Yeah, just standing by for that. Glenn McGregor in Ottawa giving us the latest. And Glenn will have more tonight on City News at 5 and 6. Glenn, thank you so much.